Welcome to Dalrymple Trading. My name's Nandis. It is Tuesday, the 7th of October, 2025. Welcoming you again to another analysis of the charts for the S&P 500, WTI Crude Oil, and gold, of course. So looking at the S&P 500, what we saw is resistance at 6750 level. So prices hit that all-time high twice, back last week before end of close, and obviously today as well. We saw prices hit that level and bounce off that level. One thing to keep in mind is that we gapped up pre-market hours on Monday here, and that gap hasn't completely been tested or closed. So that's something that I actually failed to pick up in my analysis yesterday. But when I was looking at the chart more closely, I realized that that gap is still open. So at this point, my indicators are still telling me that this is just a sideways action, even though prices are sort of moving up. They're unable to gain that new sort of traction above 6750. So I'm actually holding off until we sort of clear that 6750 level pretty decisively, like we did here, like a proper breakout to the upside. So at this point in time, we're seeing more sideways to bearish action. So there's not a whole lot of momentum in this. It's sort of just slowly working its way up and sort of breaking down a little bit now too. I would love to see that gap fill either today or by the end of the week. And then if that gap gets filled and we rotate a little bit further to the downside, then yeah, sure, we can look to taking it up again. But for now, I'm sort of sitting on the sidelines just to see what happens here. Not a huge fan of buying into this, expecting it to go up until sort of we get some resolution to retesting that low down there. So that's with the S&P 500 on the sidelines for this now until we see a bit of a bit more confirmation in the price action. Moving across to WTI crude oil. So what we saw is basically this gap forming pre-market hours on Monday. Prices just launched higher. Um, that gap hasn't yet been resolved completely. We did see prices push down lower, but not to completely closing the gap. So yeah, it's struggled to find proper meaningful support above 6150, which is this orange line. So it's sort of trying to get above it, but it's struggling. So my initial take is we might just see a little bit more sideways to upwards action before we rotate to the downside, either today or later this week. We will see that rotation, bringing prices closer to that 60 even level. Like over here as well, we haven't quite hit 60 even. So I'm assuming that at some point we will test that 60 even level and then, bounce off that or push through that to the downside. It just depends. But overall, WTI crude oil still remains weak. I don't have a bullish sign on this just yet to buy into this, despite the last 2 days price action, which sort of shows an upward trend. The question is, will it be sustained if we buy into it now? Would it just, hit a little bit higher, move a little bit higher, and then rotate downwards? So that's the challenge with WTI crude oil at the moment. I'm on the fence with this one too. Gold, it's a different story. Very bullish price action from last week. We just continue to rotate to the upside. We broke 3,900 and we're almost at the 4,000 level, which I anticipated will be hit at the end of the week or early next week. And I've been predicting that since last week that we will hit 4,000 quite comfortably. Gold has just been on a very, very strong bullish momentum to the upside and will continue to do so. There's nothing in here that dictates that there should be a change in strategy. So every dip is to be bought with gold with the right risk to reward ratio being put into place. Yeah, so that's my pre-market analysis for today. The economic calendar was put forward yesterday in our video, so I'm not going to put that up again today because nothing's really changed from that. So you can look at that video to see if there's any sort of pending announcements that may impact your trading or investing. But yeah, the US is not looking too flashy today. Crude oil, yeah, more. I think there's more downside action to come in the near future with this one. But gold, nothing stopping this train from going higher. So that's where we're sitting with these three instruments. So wish you all a good day and happy trading and investing.